somewhat more conservative. Religious figures like Calvin Butts
recognize that this poison kills. It kills young men and women. It kills old men and women. It promotes violence and sexism in our communities. It's dangerous to our police officers. It is just wrong.
It didn't have to be the Reverend Calvin Butts running over CDs in Times Square. It didn't have to be Dolores Tucker or any of these people that were just against rap. It was a constant battle and a constant fight.
You have a misunderstanding.
Who changes from positive to negative just to get a record deal. It's just like a black man who will pimp his sisters on the street just to make money.
Dolores Tucker was a powerful voice standing against the hip-hop movement. She is someone who had been involved in politics. She had participated in the Selma to Montgomery March. She took a stand against misogyny in hip-hop, and that was a huge statement.
Gangster rap is not gangster rap. Much of it is just plain old pornography, period. It is unfortunate that these negative gangster rappers have learned to have such low respect for women, especially African American women.
If you go back now and you listen to the lyrics and then you look at her stance, she was right. The music was misogynistic. It did misalign and misappropriate the ways in which women show up in this space. The music was very, very dangerous in the ways in which people respond to Black women. And for some reason it was okay. She was one of the few voices that said it was not okay.
The corporate gangsters in the entertainment suites, the true cause and propagators of this filth, not the young gangsters in the streets who are exploited, are merely the victims of the converging malign forces.
Everyone here wants to look at the conditions and try to change them. Change the conditions, and then perhaps our music will change. A rapper who changes from positive to negative just to get a record deal is just like a black man who will pimp his sisters on the street just to make money.
All right, Southside Express Lane. Just want to explain some activism, some messaging. You know, you saw the video of young Jeff before the Grays, full head of hair on Fight the Powers, the PBS documentary, and you know, kind of is wild. Like, I never knew that video was made. Of course, I know that's me, and I know I said those things, and I've definitely felt that way. But it's funny how you can you know, see things from years past, and you know, of course, if you're not a hypocrite, you know, you either grow or you still feel the same way. And the issues that I went through in the 90s, right? This is 95, 96, with hip hop and with I guess just American culture are some of the same issues that or concerns that I expressed when I made my movie maybe 6 years later, 5, 6, no, maybe 7, 8 years later, I'm sorry. I wrote Gold Digger Killer in 2003. So that was about 5, 6 years after, you know, this whole crush the CDs with Reverend Calvin Butts, you know, but I still felt there was a lot of misogyny going on. This is probably, you know, it's definitely after Luke and his battles with censorship. It was pretty much the same conversation because, you know, we always had pornography. We always had these adult things, not always, but prior to the 90s, we had these things. So I grew up with Playboy magazine being censored, Penthouse, all those things being censored. So for me, it was a censorship thing. It wasn't a freedom of speech thing because you could say whatever you want. It was a censorship thing. And, you know, now we dealing with I guess, some of the same things. You know, I was looking at this energy in Doflamingo, you know, from the One Piece character, and you know, while Jonathan Majors has the right to the freedom, right, to express himself however he wants, and wear whatever he wants, you know, the concern comes with in front of who, you know what I'm saying? In front of who? And who is he modeling in front of certain people, you know, and that is children, you know. It's one thing to you know, I go to well, this year I went to my first ball, my drag ball, or not really drag ball, it was just a ball of houses, you know, and I've been to drag competitions and stuff like that before, because I'm an advocate, no doubt, you know. I support the community, you know, and I have opinions about the community, because, you know, just like heterosexual people can't do everything in front of everybody, I don't think, you know, LGBT plus community should be allowed to do everything in front of everybody. I draw my line on freedom of speech and freedom of expression to children. You know, when it comes to children, I censor my language. I talk differently when I'm in my classroom than when I'm in my house, right, or in my car. So I expect you to dress differently. I expect you to act differently. You know, children need a nurturing environment. This mother. Children need a nurturing environment, you know, and, you know, growing up with profanity around them at an early age when their minds are developing is impressionable. Those are terms that are real. You talk to psychiatrists, psychologists, they both, you know, will all tell you that the adolescent mind is developing. So you want to put good things in, just like you eat right. Sure, you know, the body can handle alcohol, but we don't give alcohol to kids. You know what I'm saying? Try not to give your kids messed up food when they're babies, when their bodies are developing. The mind is the same thing. The mind is a part of the body, and the food is the thoughts and the ideas that you put into it. So when it came to my clip on Fight the Powers, it was really based on, you know, my peers. You know, when I went to crush CDs, I crushed the CD of Apaches. I want a gangsta B. Okay, I ain't even gonna curse on air, but and I felt that, you know, first of all, there is gangsta Bs. Let's not even play around. And people have the right to like them. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't crushing his freedom of speech. But what I was crushing was probably what he didn't really have freedom over or control over, was who he was singing that to, or who the song was played to. And that's why with Reverend Calvin Butts, C. Dolores Tucker, we understood that these guys was my age. You know, Patchy probably a few years younger than me, but, you know, when I came out in 85, I'm the same age as Dougie Fresh, I'm the same age as LL Cool J, Rakim, KRS-One. These is like people that are a year, 2 years different than me. You know, same, you know, De La Soul, they started in high school. So we know that these are young people singing about things. They don't have children. They don't understand necessarily the world, right? So yeah, they should be allowed to sing about whatever, right, whatever they want. But the radio and the record companies are adults. They have children, and they understand, you know, what's going on in terms of the impact that these things can have on children. And of course, the conspiracy theory comes in because they know that these are being played to a mostly black audience, right? And then when they found out that, you know, white people was buying these things and listening to them, and then their kids was coming home saying, I want a gangsta B, you know, then they started to censor it. But until then, They didn't do that because they didn't have a problem with little black kids saying, I want a gangster beat. So for me, yeah, you got the freedom to say whatever you want, you know? But, you know, if you get too visually free and you want to show your body parts, you do that on OnlyFans or Pornhub or one of the other censored sites. You want to show nudity in your comic book and describe erotic scenes? Well, books don't really get censored like that, but they still call them adult, and people, responsible authors, self-censor themselves, at least by saying this is an adult-themed book, you know. But comic books, same thing. Censor your stuff, you know. And I think that's the overall problem that that's going to challenge manga going forward. If I could predict anything, it is going to be that manga is going to have to come to grips with American censorship, because in Japan they don't have the same censorship as they have in America. So they can put certain things in their graphic novels that they don't have here in America. So kind of that's it. Again, this is I think I'm going to title this, I didn't know what to call it, censorship, right? Censoring your stuff. But what do you call it? Jeff Carroll, Sci-Fi Express Lane. This is me, I guess, explaining myself, because I have things that are more adult. You know, Cyberpunk Streets deals with adult themes, and I have other comics that are all ages. I don't have any real erotic books yet, and I don't have any adult films, but in my comic books, I do have something that's adult themed. So anyway, I self-censor. You come there, I say, nah, that's not for kids. So that's who I am, and I've been an activist since I was in high school, you know, which would be 30 years now. So I got facts, right? I got clips to prove it, you know, and then I'll probably go back and talk about, you know, maybe at a later time, talk about my motivation around Gold Digger Killer and pimps and strip clubs and all that stuff that I have opinions about. But anyway, like, subscribe, share, and comment, all right? Now you can comment. Like, subscribe, share, and comment. Deuces.